there! Ready for a wellness adventure? Let's explore the world of health together.
Have you ever wondered where the water for your food comes from? It's not just about turning on a tap. It's part of a massive, planet-wide system called the hydrological cycle, and understanding it is the key to a sustainable future for farming. Let's break it down. Water evaporates from oceans, lakes, and even the soil, rising into the atmosphere. It then forms clouds and falls back to Earth as rain or snow. This is the water that nourishes our crops. When it lands, some of it soaks into the ground to become groundwater, some flows into rivers, and some evaporates right back up. Farming exists right in the middle of this constant movement. Sustainable farming means working with this cycle, not against it. Precipitation is the most natural and direct source of water for agriculture. The amount of rain a place gets often decides which crops can grow there without extra help. But what happens when rainfall isn't enough? That's when irrigation comes in. Farmers draw water from rivers, lakes, or underground aquifers to water their fields. The problem is, if we take out water faster than nature puts it back in, we start running into trouble. Water levels drop, wells can run dry, and the whole system gets out of balance. Sustainable farming is all about matching what we take with what nature can provide. Now, let's talk about one of the most important players in this whole process: the soil. Healthy soil is like a giant sponge. It's rich in organic matter, which helps it absorb and hold on to water. When rain falls on good soil, it soaks in slowly, feeding plant roots and recharging the groundwater below. But if soil is compacted and degraded, water can't get in. Instead, it just runs off the surface, taking valuable topsoil and nutrients with it and causing erosion. That's why building healthy soil is a cornerstone of smart water management in farming. Another key term to know is evapotranspiration. It sounds complicated, but it's just two things happening at once: evaporation from the soil and transpiration from plants. Plants pull water up through their roots and release it as vapor through tiny pores in their leaves. It's how they stay cool and move nutrients around. But in hot, dry climates, this process can use up a lot of water. The goal is to make sure crops get exactly what they need for transpiration without losing much too simple evaporation from the soil surface. This is where the type of irrigation really matters. Think about the old school method, flood irrigation. You just let water flow over the entire field. It's simple, but a lot of that water evaporates or runs off before plants can even use it. Then you have sprinklers. They're better at spreading the water evenly, but on a windy day, a lot of that water just blows away. The gold standard for efficiency is drip irrigation. This method delivers water slowly, right at the base of each plant, directly to the roots. It minimizes waste and ensures that almost every drop counts. Choosing the right irrigation is a huge step towards sustainability. Many farms rely on groundwater, which is stored in underground layers of rock and sand called aquifers. Think of them as natural, underground reservoirs, but they refill very slowly, sometimes over hundreds or even thousands of years. When we pump water out of aquifers faster than rain can seep down to replenish them, the water table drops. This not only makes it more expensive to pump water, but can even cause the ground to sink. Sustainable farming requires us to be responsible stewards of this hidden resource. It's not just groundwater. Surface water, like rivers and lakes, is also impacted. When farms divert too much water for irrigation, it can drastically reduce the flow downstream. This affects everything from fish and wildlife that depend on the river to other communities that need that water. A sustainable farm has to think beyond its own property lines and consider its role in the entire watershed. And it's not just about the amount of water, but the quality too. Runoff from farms can carry fertilizers and pesticides into our rivers and lakes. These pollutants can disrupt aquatic ecosystems and contaminate our water sources. Good water management means keeping these substances on the farm where they belong. By using them precisely and creating natural buffers like strips of trees or grass to filter runoff before it reaches a waterway. So, how can we be smarter? One exciting area is water use. In systems like hydroponics, where plants grow in nutrient-rich water instead of soil, that water can be captured, filtered, and used again and again. Compared to traditional farming, these closed-loop systems can slash water consumption. It shows how innovative design can make a massive difference. Another simple yet powerful idea is rainwater harvesting. By collecting the rain that falls on barn roofs or greenhouses, farmers can create their own water reserve. This reduces their reliance on other sources and helps manage stormwater runoff. It's a perfect example of working in harmony with the natural water cycle. Of course, we also have to plan for a changing climate. We're seeing more extreme weather, from longer droughts to more intense downpours. A resilient farm is one that's prepared for both. Building up that healthy, spongy soil we talked about helps tremendously. It holds on to water during dry spells and allows excess water to drain away during heavy rains. To make all of this practical, farmers can use something called a water budget. It's like balancing a checkbook, but for water. You calculate how much water your crops will need, how much rain you expect to get, and how much irrigation water you have available. This helps make informed decisions about what to plant and how to irrigate, ensuring you don't use more water than you have. And let's not forget livestock. Animals need water to drink, but water is also used for cleaning and cooling. Simple things like fixing leaks in water troughs and managing manure to prevent contamination are all part of the bigger picture of water conservation on the farm. Even in aquaculture or fish farming, water cycles are key. Recirculating systems filter and reuse water, creating a clean environment for the fish while minimizing waste and discharge. It's about mimicking a natural, self-sustaining aquatic ecosystem. Ultimately, sustainable farming sees water not as an infinite commodity, but as a precious, shared resource. It's about respecting the limits of the natural hydrological cycle. By improving soil health, choosing efficient irrigation, reusing water, and carefully monitoring our use, we can build agricultural systems that are productive, resilient, and in balance with our planet's most vital resource. That's how we'll continue to feed the world for generations to come. Ever wondered what makes a farm truly sustainable? It's not just about what you grow, but how you grow it. A huge part of that puzzle lies in something called nutrient cycles. Think of it like this: the essential elements that plants need to grow, like nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon, don't just vanish after one use. They're constantly moving and changing form, cycling through the soil, water, air, plants, and even tiny microorganisms. Sustainable farming is all about understanding and working with these natural cycles, not against them. Let's start with nitrogen, one of the most important nutrients for plants. It's a key ingredient in proteins and chlorophyll, which gives plants their green color. Now, here's a fun fact. Our atmosphere is nearly 80% nitrogen gas, but plants can't use it directly. It needs to be converted into forms like ammonium or nitrate first. This magic trick is called nitrogen fixation, and it's mostly performed by special bacteria in the soil. Some of these bacteria live freely, while others team up with plants like beans and clover. In a natural system, when plants or animals die, their organic matter breaks down, releasing nitrogen back into the soil. Microbes then convert this organic nitrogen into ammonium, and other bacteria turn that ammonium into nitrate. Nitrate dissolves easily in water, making it a perfect meal for plants. But this also means it can easily wash away into our groundwater if it's not used. This is where modern agriculture comes in. We often add extra nitrogen, usually as synthetic fertilizers or manure, to boost crop growth. Synthetic fertilizers have been a game changer, helping us feed a growing world. But there's a catch. If we apply more nitrogen than the plants can absorb, the excess nitrate can leach out of the soil or run off into rivers and lakes. This isn't just a waste of money. It pollutes our water. The goal of sustainable farming is to perfectly time the nitrogen application with the crop's needs, making sure every bit gets used. Next up is phosphorus, another VIP nutrient. It's crucial for energy transfer in plant cells and for developing strong roots. Unlike nitrogen, phosphorus doesn't have a gas form. It mainly comes from rocks. Over long periods, weathering breaks down these rocks, releasing phosphorus into the soil. But phosphorus likes to stick to soil particles, so it doesn't wash away as easily as nitrogen. However, it can be carried away with eroded soil. In farming, we add phosphorus fertilizers to replace what's removed with the harvest. The problem arises when we add too much. The excess phosphorus builds up in the soil, and when erosion happens, These phosphorus-rich soil particles can end up in our waterways. Just like with nitrogen, this can cause harmful algal blooms that choke out aquatic life. That's why controlling soil erosion and carefully monitoring phosphorus levels are so important for sustainable agriculture. Now let's talk about carbon. The carbon cycle is the grand connector, linking soil health, plant growth, and even our climate. Plants are amazing carbon managers. Through photosynthesis, they pull carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and turn it into sugars and starches, building their own bodies. When plants die and decompose, this carbon becomes part of the soil's organic matter. Soil microbes then get to work, releasing some carbon back into the air as they break down the material, but also locking some of it away in stable forms within the soil. This soil organic carbon is like gold for farmers. It improves soil structure, helps it hold water, and creates a thriving home for beneficial microbes. But when we till the soil too much or don't add back organic matter, we lose this precious carbon. It escapes into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide, which contributes to climate change, and our soil becomes less fertile. Sustainable practices like leaving crop residue on the field, adding compost, and minimizing soil disturbance are all about building up this vital soil carbon. Interestingly, the carbon and nitrogen cycles are closely linked. The microbes that decompose organic matter need both carbon for energy and nitrogen for their own growth. If they're breaking down material with a lot of carbon but not much nitrogen, like straw, they'll actually pull nitrogen from the soil, temporarily making it unavailable to plants. Smart farmers understand this and balance their inputs to make sure nutrients are released right when their crops need them. Livestock also play a big role in these cycles. Animals eat plants, taking in nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon. They then excrete these nutrients in their manure. When managed well, manure is an incredible fertilizer, returning nutrients to the soil. But if it's not stored or applied correctly, it can become a source of pollution, with nutrients running off into water and greenhouse gases escaping into the atmosphere. The key is integrating livestock and crop production in a balanced, controlled way. If you want to see a nutrient cycle in action, look no further than an aquaponics system. It's a brilliant, closed-loop setup. Fish produce ammonia as waste. Helpful bacteria in the system convert that ammonia first into nitrite, and then into nitrite. The plants then absorb this nitrate from the water as their food source. So, the fish waste feeds the plants, and the plants clean the water for the fish. It's a perfect example of recycling nutrients and minimizing waste. A key measure of success in all of this is something called nutrient use efficiency. Basically, it's the percentage of the nutrients you apply that actually get taken up by the crop. The higher the efficiency, the less waste and pollution. This is where modern technology helps. Precision agriculture tools can analyze soil in different parts of a field and apply fertilizer at variable rates, putting it only where it's needed. Timing is everything. Applying nitrogen right before a big rainstorm is a recipe for disaster, as it will likely just wash away. The best practice is to apply nutrients during the periods when the crop is growing most actively and can absorb them right away. And what about the off-season? That's where cover crops come in. These are plants grown not for harvest, but to protect the soil. They soak up any leftover nitrogen, preventing it from leaching away over the winter. Then, when they're tilled back into the soil in the spring, they slowly release those nutrients for the next cash crop. We've talked about the big three: nitrogen, phosphorus, and carbon, but we can't forget micronutrients like iron, zinc, and magnesium. Plants need them in smaller amounts, but they are just as essential for healthy growth. Sustainable farming involves regular soil testing to make sure these micronutrients are in balance. Ultimately, all these cycles show us that farming isn't a simple line from input to output. It's a complex, dynamic dance of transformation. Nutrients are always on the move. Sometimes they're lost through leaching, sometimes they escape into the air, and sometimes they're carried away by erosion. These losses are bad for the farmer's wallet and for the environment. Sustainable agriculture works to minimize these losses by closing the loops wherever possible. Farmers can use nutrient budgets, carefully calculating all the inputs and outputs on their farm to ensure they're not building up in excess or depleting their soil. And let's not forget, our climate affects all of this. Temperature and moisture levels change how fast microbes work and how quickly nutrients become available. A farmer in a cool climate might need a different strategy than one in a warm, wet region. There's also a bigger, long-term challenge to consider, especially with phosphorus. The world's supply of phosphorus rock, where we get most of our phosphorus fertilizer, is limited. This makes it incredibly important that we use phosphorus efficiently and find ways to recycle it from waste. By understanding these intricate nutrient cycles, we can create farming systems that are not only productive but also resilient and environmentally friendly. It's about working in harmony with nature's own processes to grow our food, protect our resources, and build a healthier future for everyone. Now, we're diving deep into a topic that is absolutely fundamental to every single thing you eat: energy flow in agriculture. It might sound a bit scientific, but trust me, it's the invisible force that shapes our entire food system. At its core, all farming begins with the sun. That brilliant star in our sky is the primary external energy source for life on Earth. Plants, the foundation of our food web, are incredible solar-powered factories. Through a process you probably remember from school, photosynthesis, they capture sunlight, using carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil. They create glucose, a simple sugar. This glucose is pure, stored chemical energy. It's what plants use to build their stems, leaves, fruits, and seeds, the very parts we and other animals eat. Now, you might think that plants are just soaking up all the sunlight they can get, but it's not that simple. In reality, plants only convert a small percentage of the sun's radiation into energy. Things like leaf size, temperature, water, and the intensity of the light all play a role. Sustainable farming is all about creating the perfect conditions for plants to maximize this energy capture naturally, without relying too heavily on artificial inputs like excessive fertilizers. Once that solar energy is locked into a plant, it starts its journey up the food chain. When a cow eats grass or a chicken eats corn, it's consuming that stored solar energy. In livestock farming, animals transform this plant energy into meat, milk, or eggs. But this transfer isn't 100% efficient, not even close. A huge chunk of the energy an animal eats is used just to live, for moving around, staying warm, and basic metabolism. Only a small fraction is stored as the food we eventually consume. This is a key reason why discussions around food sustainability often focus on the efficiency of animal agriculture. In systems that only grow crops, the harvested plants themselves are the final product of stored solar energy. But modern agriculture has another major energy input: fossil fuels. Think about it: tractors running across fields, the production of synthetic fertilizers, irrigation pumps, and transporting food to the grocery store. All of it consumes enormous amounts of energy. The manufacturing of nitrogen fertilizer is especially energy intensive, requiring high-pressure industrial processes. This brings us to a crucial concept: energy return on investment. Essentially, we're asking, how much food energy are we getting out for every unit of energy we put in? If a farm uses a massive amount of fossil fuel just to produce a modest amount of food, its long-term sustainability is questionable, especially as fuel prices fluctuate. Improving this energy balance is key to making our food system more resilient. Beyond fuel for tractors, other aspects of farming have significant energy demands. In dry regions, pumping water for irrigation is a major energy cost. And then there's controlled environment agriculture, like greenhouses and vertical farms. While they can grow food in places or seasons that would otherwise be impossible, they require a constant supply of energy for lighting, heating, cooling, and ventilation. Smart design, good insulation, and new technologies are crucial for reducing these energy footprints. A really exciting solution is integrating renewable energy directly on the farm. Solar panels can power everything from irrigation pumps to greenhouse lights. Biogas digesters are another brilliant innovation. They take animal manure waste product and convert it into methane gas, which can then be used to generate heat and electricity. These technologies help close the energy loop on the farm, reducing reliance on outside fossil fuels and making the entire operation more self-sufficient. Energy flow doesn't stop at the harvest. It's also vital for the soil itself. When plant residues like stalks and leaves are left on the field, they become food for billions of microorganisms in the soil. These microbes break down the organic matter, releasing essential nutrients that future crops can use. This natural recycling process is powered by the leftover solar energy stored in the plant material. Sustainable farming focuses on feeding the soil by returning this organic matter, rather than stripping the land bare. It's also important to understand where energy is lost. In any biological system, from a single plant cell to a large animal, energy is lost as heat during metabolic processes. This is a fundamental law of thermodynamics. It helps explain why it takes significantly more land, water, and energy to produce a calorie of beef compared to a calorie of beans. The energy has to pass through more stages, with losses at each step. The very choice of what to grow affects energy efficiency. Different plants have different types of photosynthesis, making them better suited for certain climates. Some crops thrive in the heat, while others are more efficient in cooler, cloudier conditions. By selecting crops that are naturally adapted to the local environment, farmers can maximize solar energy capture without needing extra resources. Even the way crops are planted matters. The density and arrangement of plants can optimize how much sunlight the entire field receives, ensuring that one plant isn't excessively shading another. We also need to rethink what we consider waste. Agricultural residues like straw, corn stalks, or pruned branches are packed with stored energy. Instead of being discarded, this biomass can be composted to enrich the soil or used in bioenergy systems to power the farm. It's all about seeing the entire farm as an interconnected energy system. Mechanization has revolutionized farming, but our reliance on fossil fuel-powered machinery is a vulnerability. Simple changes, like keeping equipment well-maintained and adopting reduced tillage practices, can significantly cut down on fuel consumption while also protecting the soil. In livestock, improving feed conversion ratios, how efficiently an animal turns feed into body mass, is a major goal. Better genetics, nutrition, and animal welfare can all contribute to getting more food with less energy input. Finally, let's zoom out. Natural ecosystems have incredibly complex food webs, with energy flowing between countless species. Modern agriculture often simplifies this down to a single crop of monoculture. While this can be very productive in the short term, it makes the system less resilient to pests, diseases, and climate change. Diversifying farms with multiple crops, integrating animals, or planting habitat for beneficial insects can help restore some of this ecological complexity and stability. As our climate changes, energy flow in agriculture will be affected. Rising temperatures can stress crops, and shifting weather patterns will impact water availability. The challenge is to build farming systems that are resilient and adaptable. This means using technology wisely, like precision agriculture tools that apply fertilizer only where it is needed, and combining it with a deep understanding of ecological principles. From the farm gate, the energy story continues. Processing, packaging, refrigeration, and transportation all add to the total energy cost of our food. Reducing food waste and creating more efficient local supply chains are essential parts of the puzzle. Ultimately, a truly sustainable food system is one that works in harmony with natural energy flows. It maximizes the free and abundant energy from the sun while minimizing its dependence on finite fossil fuels. By understanding how energy enters, moves through, and leaves our farms, we can create a more resilient, productive, and environmentally sound way to feed the world. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this topic as fascinating as I do, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of food and farming. See you next time.
Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it.